One of the observations I've had as your son over 35 years of you being itinerant is your life has been marked, I believe, by divine favour in the area of financial provision. I've seen
Sure.
seen a lot of itinerants that may live struggle, yet I don't see that over your life. Is that you accidentally have fallen into something, or is Father, did he give you a rhema word that has resulted in this present reality? Were you always there, or is this something you've grown into? Can you talk about financial provision as an itinerant?
Good. As a young man, I started out in the faith area at 19 when I signed up for one of the very early days of the YWAM movement.
Yeah.
And I remember the Lord spoke to me. I didn't know anything. I was as raw. I was just saved, filled with the Holy Spirit. Was naive enough to believe that God could do anything. I hear all these amazing stories from the Bible. I wasn't trained, I wasn't developed. I just, wow, everything. Preacher preached it, I believed it. If the Bible said it, I believed it. I mean, I just didn't know any different. And I remember that I was called to go on this trip on the YWAM. I've just felt this conviction. And what I didn't realize fully then, but I have in the years later, is that God was forming a covenant with me.
Wow.
And he just simply said this: if you will do, I will do. That's the nature of covenant.
Wow.
If you ever look at the word covenant, it means a binding agreement between two parties.
Wow.
And it means that if I do this, even it's a legal thing. If I do this, they will do that.
Yeah.
And it was just in the simplicity of first love passion, as I say, raw as raw, when I knew God said, I want you to go to Fiji.
Yeah.
And I will provide for you to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't complicate it. I wasn't intelligent enough to complicate it.
Yeah.
I just ran out and told my parents and a few others, I'm going to Fiji. God's sending me to Fiji. I didn't even stop to think about the fact that there might be money involved. I didn't have a penny to my name. But what I had was a very clear declaration from God: if you do that, I'll do this.
Yes.
And I realized that the whole calling of a Christian is to hear and obey.
Yeah.
We complicate it with lots of other stuff. But if you've heard clearly and you've obeyed boldly, that's the essence of covenant. And
good.
God will never, ever let you down if what you're doing is by his command.
Yes.
He won't always provide what you want.
Yes.
He'll always, absolutely always, provide everything you need to do what he's told you to do.
So good.
Whether that's by way of providing relationships, or whether that's to provide for finance, or whether that's to provide for circumstance to change, whatever is necessary to do what he's told you to do, it'll be there. Now that, as a 19-year-old, that kind of hit me. And there was miracles of provision happened to enable me to go. And from there on, it was like, I look back at it now and I realize it's God's strategy, but I didn't know at the time. He just kept asking me to do things that I couldn't do.
Yes. And you kept on saying yes.
I didn't know any better. I just said yes. Okay? I mean, literally, even in the area of jobs and what employment. I remember one day reading the New Zealand Herald.
Yep.
And I I didn't even finish high school.
Yeah.
I mean, I got no university degrees, anything. And I read an article in the newspaper, and it said, wanted, a legal executive for this top group of lawyers in Auckland City. And the Holy Spirit said, I want you there. I just felt, I was just reading through the paper, and suddenly I see this ad, and I felt God say, that's you. I said, what? And I really felt God speak to me. So what did I do? Try to make it reasonable? No, I just went and applied. I turned up for an interview, and I should have got the notion as soon as I walked in for the interview, because there was about 5 others there for the interview, and they were all in their suits, and I was in my hick clothes, kind of, you know. Cut a long story short, I got the job. Because, and then this is story time, okay? But I remember, as a whirlwind, I get there, I get the job, and they give me the job, and I go into this great mahogany office overlooking the Domain in Auckland. I've never forgotten it, and I said to the lady, whose office is this? And she says, oh, this is yours, Mr. McCracken. I said, yes. And I was absolutely bewildered. And cut a long story short, and it is a long story, I was sitting behind that desk on the first day.
Yeah.
And one of the partners came in with this pile of folders, slapped them on the desk in front of me, and said, that's the only Hungaburra rates. We got a dismal record in reclaiming these bad rates. You need to increase, you have to deal with it, you know, legally and all that. And so he just walked out the door, and I'm sat there, and it suddenly dawned on me, the reality of it. I hadn't a clue. I didn't even know what the terms meant. And I closed the door, and I said, God, I was so sure you put me here. It's a miracle I'm even sitting behind this desk. Why would you do that unless you're going to empower me to do that? So, Father, I'm not going to try to understand a single word in those documents. I'm just going to sit here till you speak.
So good.
And he spoke. As clear as a bell. He said, they're just people. Talk to them. So I didn't try any of the legal avenues at all. I just rang them up or went to see them as people. And they paid. And they all thought I was Perry Mason. They thought, this is amazing. Look at the results this man's getting. And I still was anywhere near a legal executive. But I was learning as a young man the need to hear Father speak.
Wow.
And now, 50 years later, it's still the same. Doesn't matter what God asks me to do. Have I heard his voice?
Yeah.
Have I obeyed his voice?
Yeah.
The provision that's been in my life, as Steve referred to, it's been extraordinary. But it's really only the same as that young 19-year-old. It's Father asks you to do something. Yeah. If you say yes, and don't try to reason it out, don't try to make it more logical, don't try to make it reasonable, just do whatever he told you to do.
That's great.
With good oversight, with good people around you. I'm not saying just be a loose gun, but trust him. If he asks you to do something, that he'll provide for you to do that.
So much in there. We're going to come back next time and continue this, because I'm feeling something stirring. Just amplify a bit more, and we're going to
because I've told too many stories.
No, but this is gold. But we're going to go and we're coming back and look at the difference between provision and stewardship and what that looks like in the covenant of your personal and
Okay,
ministry.
good.
So come back. We'll see you again soon.